good questions already.
Yeah. I can see people are prepared for this stage. So Blip, it's gonna be a tough time, I think, but it's gonna be good.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes in here that are unexpected and or fan favorites.
Okay.
So
we're gonna let the question come, and I'm gonna say that, guys, we're gonna start in October with the Back to Port Season 3. We already had Season 2 completed. Season 3 is gonna start with this podcast. We already have recorded the podcast with Euro, what's gonna be released after this episode we are recording right now. Patchnotes have a priority on our shows. So this podcast is gonna be recorded and it's gonna be published I think tomorrow morning or even today later. I really don't know how that will go, but I think that it's gonna be a minor editing in the live stage that we have now. So the quicker we release, the quicker the people get the information and the Patchnotes podcast with Blip. So I have to tell you that if you join the stage, your voice is not going to be recorded because we're going to have a separated community stage with the recording bot off. So your voice and your consent is not going to be needed for the publishing. So we are not going to publish your voice or your questions or anything you said in the community part. We're only going to record the episode with Blip till the community questions, okay? So don't afraid to join and don't afraid to ask any question you have. So Clip, we have October Patchnotes. So what's going on? A lot of people ask in the feedback about changes, balance. I think it's the most important that a lot of balances are coming. Can you give us a bit of information why and what is coming and why
we want to start off with the balance changes?
Yeah, I want to start with the balance change because a lot of people I saw in the feedback channels and around Reddit and all that stuff that people were commenting, they are concerned about balance changes and about the CV's rework in the spotting range, and they are a bit confused what's going to happen and with that rate that is happening. I can see a lot of questions about Tallinn, Russian cruisers and all that stuff. So let's give a small piece of information about why we have so many changes and balances. It's because of the tier 8 and why is that happening? And then we can go over the Patchnotes as always.
Yeah. So I guess let's start with the CVs. So essentially the CVs got a blanket kind of rework in terms of their concealment. And the whole idea of it was to make their concealment make a little bit more sense considering how large these ships are, as well as to carriers have the longest average survival times out of any ships in the game. That's kind of a no-brainer due to how they're played. But there are complaints that people make when people basically have the Marco Polo syndrome where the carrier just goes off to the middle of nowhere at the end of the game and then you got to go hunt it down. So this kind of reduces that problem a little bit. And but in order to compensate for this change a little, we wanted to give HP to some ships or ships as aircraft in order to kind of compensate for losing this ability.
Okay, so the main thing is that we give something, we take something, so things could get balanced and things could be easy for people to play. Also, I would like to say that you are taking considerate of people from the feedback that they are asking things, and now Wargaming is giving back to them what they are asking. So I think that Wargaming is hearing and is what people say. So don't say, guys, that they are deciding on themselves, because they have a fair amount of balance, and we can see that with this update. So before we start with Blip and bomb Blip with many questions, let's see what this update is up. So Blip, let's go together and let's make a quick pass on the patch notes. Halloween update, new friends, all foes. So we see a Halloween update with a new title, new friends, old foes. So let's see what this is happening. Guys, the update is gonna be October 3. So it's gonna have usual downtime timing. Don't blame Wargaming if they're gonna be late. It's gonna be some problem with that, but I don't think that they're gonna be late this time. I think that they are ready for this update. So
I would keep the possibilities open that there might be delays this time. We've had to deal with interesting times in the past couple months.
Okay.
So I wouldn't put there is a possibility that we might have delays on Monday, but so I'm just going to go in negative and then hope to be pleased.
So I think that the hamsters are fed properly and they have their multivitamins over the week, so they can pull up the server.
Yep.
Okay. So let's go. Spooky season is up. So we have the classic spooky season, the Halloween event, with another return of Rasputin. Can you tell us what's the another return of Rasputin? Is gonna be the Rasputin that we saw last year, or it's gonna be something extravaganza, something special of Rasputin? Or we don't want to say that it's something that people are gonna keep this a surprise?
I would say it should be more similar to what we had last year. It's kind of a they want to I think the wording was they wanted to revive the event, so there'll be some changes and differences. Of course, there's new ships being featured this time, that being the Iowa, the Xian Yang, and the Hipper, but there are other ships getting skins as well. And so some people really enjoy the Halloween skins, and some of them are like really nice, like the Turpit skin and the Shokaku skin. So and all of the old skins will be returning as well, so if you want to get one of those, you can.
So it's gonna be some extra with some special modes. I mean special things extra to make the event even more spicier than it was last year. Okay, so let's see then. The Fortress campaign with Soviet Tier 8 premium cruiser Grosnstad, or I'm saying wrong.
Kronstadt.
Okay, that's my Greek English. Okay, the Balkan view as the ultimate reward. So Blip, that campaign is gonna be. Does it have how we say save mode? I mean, you can grind if you miss a week, or it's gonna be locked over the weeks.
It has the catch-up mode is enabled.
Excellent.
So it's a pretty normal campaign, 100 milestones with catch-up enabled. So you don't have to finish every week during the week.
Very nice. So people can grind with their ease, and there is no rush if they miss a week or so. So they can catch up anytime they want, so they can grind out the campaign. Excellent. So let's go and keep some details on the cruiser. I know that we don't have any official stats about the cruiser, but
I can give some.
Let's say.
So Kronstadt is a lot of people are going to call her a baby Stalingrad. That is not how I would describe it.
Okay.
In appearance, it definitely looks like a baby Stalingrad.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's not going to have the same accuracy as Stalingrad. The dispersion is battleship level dispersion, which is the worst on any cruiser in the game.
Really?
It has, but it does have good sigma, so it does kind of balance out there. The guns are very high velocity guns, typical of Soviet.
Yeah.
And it has the highest, I think it's the highest health pool of any cruiser. It's 71,000 HP.
Okay, so we are talking about a super big cruiser. I mean, with a health boost and the classic Soviet design back in the 1930s. we have the classic format of the velocity and all the things that are the Soviet ballistic things. So we mean flat and fast cells, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And how is the reload?
The reload is pretty good. I didn't check what the base reload was, but I'm running a BD Lightful with a reload build on it, and I have it down to 13.4 seconds.
Okay, that's quite spicy. I mean, you can do a lot of damage, I think, with that reload. It's almost similar to the Japanese, so I think that it's gonna be pretty good. So, and how are the options for the people? I mean, do you have only AP? You have HE, AP?
Yeah, you have AP and HE, and they are just standard AP and HE. The HE AP has good damage. My build has 9,900 damage, and the HE I believe is 4,200 with a 24% base fire chance. So,
it's gonna be something amazing. So you give something to the SIP, and you take something to the SIP. So that's the balance of the SIP. It has some negatives, but it also have a lot of positive. And I think that the positive are more to the negative for the SIP. And if the SIP is played up properly, it's gonna be something huge in the game. And including the Soviet bias that people keep including in the conspiracy theories about any Russian SIP in the game. So guys,
it's definitely going to be a weird boat. People are going to love and hate it.
Okay, excellent. So that's the big news, guys. It's going to be a SIP that's totally going to change the map in a few days. Okay,
I think I think I can make this segue here. So the campaign introduces a new reward into the campaign called research points, which this is one of the main ways that we're kind of revamping Bureau a little bit to where you can increase your progress by doing other things. So research points can be put into a Bureau project to basically speed it up. So you know how you do your daily trials for a Bureau and you get 100,000 research points or whatever. Basically, these are one-to-one to that, so you can spend, so if you buy out the campaign, or if you, let's say do the entire campaign for free, you get 350,000 research points, and you can just apply that to, say, the new Bureau project, which is Burgonia.
So if you are joining the campaign, you can also benefit to your Bureau project, and you can speed up process around your things in the game by doing normal campaign mode. So excellent. That's I'm
not sure if you can apply these to all projects yet, but I know for sure you can use it on the Burgonia.
Okay. So. Now we know that we can use it on that specific project. So thank you very much, Blip. Okay, let's see. German alternate battleships become researchable. So we are now ending the early access season of the German alternate battleships, and we have D-Ribz Prince Rupert leading the way. So it's very good news, and I see that we have a legendary French battleship Bourgogne in the Boré project. So can you tell us about that ship, Blip, the French battleship?
So Burgonia is, think, how to describe it? Those who are familiar with it already know, but it's going to be the new fastest legendary tier battleship, and think kind of legendary tier Jean Bart. So you have the main thing, you have engine boost, you have main battery reload booster, you have this typical French armor, but you have, instead of 8 of the normal French 380mm guns, you have 12 in 3 different turrets. So
it's gonna be huge.
So they are now the smallest battleship guns at legendary tier, but they will definitely have a nice reload, and the ship is fast. So
it's gonna be huge. The DPM is gonna be huge. I can guess that for the ship, especially with the reload. So excellent news again. So guys, what else can you ask? Legendary Friends Battleship. It's here. You can read that in the bottom. So let's go a bit down and see. A Light in the Dark returns anew. So it's like the last year event, A Light in the Dark, but returns anew. And I can see 3 new commanders here. Is it true, Blip?
These are commander guises. So
okay.
They're not they aren't available as full commanders for regular play. And a lot of people have asked, like, why are we doing only guises now instead of full-on commanders? The brute force honest answer is guises require less involvement from the game design team, which allows them to work on other things. So guises can be mainly worked up by our art team and then plugged in, and they're good to go. And which allows game design to work on things like Tier 8 releases, or let's see, what else are they working on right now? Training rooms and things like this. So, like so guises help us to save a little bit of time over commanders, because commanders, you have to come up with new abilities that are pretty unique, and it needs a lot of testing, balancing, and all that stuff. So guises are something easy, and people can grab them and they can win them easy, and they can also have something that it seemed like more like a modification to their ships and to their cells with colors and all that stuff that makes special quality improvements on their ships. So yeah, I agree with Blip. It's something easy, you can make it easy, so you can take it. Okay, let's see. Now to the juicy part, because a lot of people were asking about that. Commonwealth Tier 5 Premium Cruiser Perth. I know that Perth is an iconic ship. A lot of people were asking about Perth, when it will come, why it's being deployed now. It had to be released earlier and all that stuff, but now it's here. So the Perth. So tell us about the Perth, Blip, because people are asking about how it's gonna be. It's gonna be like the PC. It's gonna be something new. It will be similar to PC.
Okay.
Perth is think of Perth as more or less a Leander with both AP and HE.
Okay.
It has a crawling smoke screen, your pretty standard torpedoes, and that's the main gist of it. And it's Australian with its own exclusive commander for now. It's a cruiser commander named Harold B. Farcombe.
Yeah.
Did I get that name correct? Yes, Harold B. Farcombe. I have a harder time with English names than French names. It's kind of weird. And essentially, like, the commander, basically from Robin, or the Sailing Robin's impression, was it's tailor-made for the ship.
Okay.
So that's why we say that in the patch notes here.
Okay, so I can see in the picture of the patch notes that it has the base trait is the careful, that says your ship detectability time after firing main battery guns minus 10%. Your ship detectability range after firing main battery guns inside the smoke screen minus 10%. So as you said, it's tailored for that ship. So it's gonna be something not unique. I mean, there are similar skills like that and base traits, but it's gonna help a little bit for that ship. So that is excellent news.
Yeah, as well, he also has a unique skill, which is in his
Cell from the Ghost.
Yeah, and that's in his second shell slot. So, which is you increase your main battery range and your shell grouping, or your sigma, by up to 4% while you're in a smoke screen.
Yeah, What in the smoke? Very nice. So it's gonna be the commander is gonna be available as a part of the Perth bundle, obtaining for Ascent Shards in the Halloween section of the store.
Right.
Obtainable for Ancient Shards. So I think that a microcurrency inside the Halloween event that you can grind and you can accumulate those shards, and then you can buy out something in the store, and that could be that commander. Okay.
So so Ancient Shards will be available in the Halloween campaign. I haven't done the entire math yet to figure out how much you can get entirely for free. So like I just got back from vacation and been catching up since then. So we don't have the math yet for that. We think you might be able to get it entirely for free.
Okay.
But if not, we know for sure that if you can finish the event on all of its difficulty modes with 5 stars, which probably won't be an easy task, but
I think so.
then you that will get you the Kawachi battleship tier 3, which has a series of missions. You do both of those things, you will have 7,100 ancient shards. Then you only need 2,900 to get the Perth, which is at 10,000.
Okay.
And in order to do that, you can buy for 10,000 doubloons. You can buy 10 Halloween containers, and that will get you for sure enough ancient shards. But I suspect that there's other ways to get ancient shards, but I don't know for sure yet. So
okay, I can see that. So more info about that. It's gonna be available in the next days. So keep up the Reddit, Discord, any social media around the game. So it's gonna be. I think they're gonna catch up with all the things, and the community manager they're gonna be releasing more information and about that very soon. So keep up, guys, in the social, and we can figure out how we're gonna get that ship for free, if there is enough time or if there is enough mechanisms to make it free. But as Blip said, probably people gonna have to grind a bit hard so they can obtain that ship for free. So big things about the Kawachi. So it's gonna be a tier 3 Japanese Navy dreadnought with thick armor. I think that they have thick armor belt and 6 turrets. So it's gonna be a typical Japanese battleship. It's gonna be fast blip or it's gonna be slow?
It'll be slow.
It's gonna be slow.
Yeah. So the Kawachi is Japan's first attempt at a dreadnought, with emphasis being on attempt rather than dreadnought. So historically speaking, this ship is questionably dreadnought. So it has a hexagonal gun layout like the Nassau, with 305 millimeter guns. Historically, the side mounted or the wing mounted guns were a different caliber, so they were 305/45, while the bow and stern guns were /50s, which means that the main battery was not technically homogeneous. And it had only triple expansion engines, which did not mean that it was, which technically is like 2 X's against it being a true dreadnought, but we give it to her anyway because that's kind of how she's fit in the history.
Okay, so I think that it is a very nice addition of people that are collecting ships, and I think that it's gonna be a very fun ship to play. Because I can see that with the gun's position and all the stuff. It's gonna be a hard opponent in tier 3. If you that's it.
It should play like similar to Nassau, but with more focus on the main guns rather than any secondaries.
Okay.
Because the main guns are larger than Nassau's, and they do a little bit more damage, I believe. So
it's gonna be a bit challenging facing that ship in tier 3s. Let's see how that goes. Okay. So let me ask you about a lot of ships that are coming. So we have tier 7 Bayard, Friends premium cruiser Bayard with a camo that looks like a Lego. That's my first impression. It looks like a child made a Lego thing, and then it became a camo. So I liked it very much. But Blip, tell us a bit about that cruiser.
Yeah,
it is tier 7, so it's gonna be released in the store about the classic amount of the doubloons. I think that how are they? 1250 or how is value the tier 7 now in the premium store?
Bayard will be available on October the. Gotta check the date. It should be available on October the 10th. It'll be for doubloons.
Yeah.
Very much like the Plymouth. Think of it as a cross between De Grassa, Cleveland, and Colbert.
Okay.
And so the gist of it is that it has 12 152mm guns. There's a main battery reload booster. You get 2 charges of it, but it's super easy to citadel and blow it out of the water. It does have torpedoes, and the high explosive has 30mm of raw HE pin. So it will pump out quite a significant amount of damage, but it's super easy to get rid of if you can hit it.
Can we say that it is... what is the reload, if that can be revealed? So I can say that if that ship is similar to something like Weimar in tier 7. With that because I can see that it has fast turrets, and how is the reload? That will make here.
I'm not sure what it is offhand, but it's pretty fast. I think you can get it. You can probably get it somewhere in the 5-second range.
Oh my god!
So it's going to be a lot of HE spam, but it's also going to be one of those ships that you can, like, if you hit it, it's gone.
Yeah. So it's one way. Either you pump up the damage or back to port in a few seconds. Yeah.
Okay. Like 5 seconds with a build. That's after the build.
Yeah,
so that's not the stock.
Yeah. Okay. And then we have British tier 5 premium aircraft carrier Royal. So another CV, this time British and tier 5. Okay. Yep. Having the biggest squadrons, 9 planes each at her tier, make the famous Royal a force to be reckoned with. Add some flair with a special Halloween skin. If fantasy, it's up your alley. So it will be available also with a Halloween skin, a special skin. 9 planes, that's a lot. I think that you can chunk some damage, huge damage. Did they have AP bombs?
No, there'll be HE bombs.
80 bombs, so it's gonna be a good fire starter, but I can see that 9 planes are something that they can be they can annoy some people in tier 5. So I think that Royal, beside the iconic ship as it was, it's gonna be a good addition for people that they want. It's gonna be released in the store Blip. It's gonna be a premium leg. It's gonna be in the store note or in the bureau.
Yeah. It'll be in the store beginning October 17th is the plan. Okay, so just in time for Trafalgar Day, which is on the 21st.
Excellent. Well programmed all. We are I think that we said all that it's been in the patch notes, and let's go Blip in the balance changes, and then we can start with the people that they are bringing up questions in the chat. So, do we have any significant changes in the balance department? I mean,
we already touched on the carrier changes. The gist there is that we are decreasing carrier concealment for most of them to make them easier to find and easier to stay spotted.
That's very good.
But in order to compensate for that, we increased plane HP a little bit.
Yeah. So we give to the planes HP, but we take the spotting.
Yeah, and it's like, and for most of the carriers, it's not that much HP. It's like 70 to 100 HP, which is essentially 1 second of a DPS for most ships.
So for you guys to be informed, let me take, for example, tier 7 Lexington. I think that it is the best carrier in the game for me personally. Let's see what the changes are for that ship. For example, surface detectability range changed from 13.3 to 14.5. Nothing very big, but good. Air detectability range changed from 9.3 to 10.1. So that's something that really is not quite challenging, but it's good, yeah. But also, let's see what they gave to the Lexington. Stock dive bomber HP changed from 2.8 to 2.850. Okay, that's a little bit of health. And the stock torpedo bomber exactly the same, 0.50 plus to the HP. And similar to the upgraded dive bomber, the HP changes a little bit far from 2.8 to 2.940. So I think that we have some changes, yes. Okay, that you give Blip to the bomber some health, but you take some from the detectability. I think that we are okay.
That's the general changes. Some of them are a little bit different, but so I went ahead and asked basically our carrier guy in the game design team, and roughly speaking, this is when we added carrier calculation for the class, we did them based off of battleship sizes. Whenever converting anything from PC to Legends, we look at how we treat other ships of the same type. And then so we added carriers, we based them off of battleships because they're both capital ships around the same size category. But we didn't really consider the difference in the hull sizes for the carriers at that time. And so what we are doing now is compensating for the extra hull size of carriers compared to battleships rather than just displacement. That's good.
But we have some people raging in the comment sections and in the community around and say, why tier 6 cruiser Tallinn was touched? So can you give us a bit of explanation about that? I mean, it's not something big, but I can see that the reload and some AP damage has been decreased. So can you tell us about why Tallinn was touched?
Basically, Tallinn is from an overall package standpoint, it's the best performing cruiser at tier 6.
Exactly.
Technically speaking, Tiger 59 has a higher battle impact, but but Tiger has no comparison in terms of what its damage is or anything like that.
Yeah.
So Tallinn has Tallinn, we just wanted to dial it back to stop being basically the best cruiser at tier 6 to being a still solid cruiser at tier 6.
Okay.
And we also changed the A hull armor for Tallinn to be the same as B hull armor because there used to be a difference between the two. So now Tallinn always has the 27 millimeter plating.
Excellent.
Which is what its monster, what is a large part of what makes it a monster.
Yeah, that's why it was OP for some users and players of that ship because Tallinn, I think that it was kinda of OP, so that touch it was necessary. I'm speaking personally, so I'm good with that. I mean, it's not something huge, it's something for the better health of the game, and I think that it is okay. So let's go to another touch. It was the tier 5 premium cruiser Duca Costa. So we see a minor changes to the reload increase from 7.5 to 8 seconds. So it was something from the reload and the damage.
So this is for the Duca d'Aosta when it's using SAP, the module for SAP. So this is an adjustment to SAP Duca d'Aosta.
Okay.
And essentially, whenever we gave SAP to Duca d'Aosta, everybody said the reload's going to be too fast. They were right, and so we were changing the reload.
Okay, excellent. So we have another tier 6 premium cruiser, Abruzzi, maximum AP cell damage increase from 3.1 to 3.4, and the HE cell damage 2.1, 2.3. Fire setting change from 7 to 10%, that's something big. I mean, 3% is something that gives a bit of damage, so I think that Abruzzi, it was kind of needed that stats, and I'm very happy for the tier 6 because it's also a premium cruiser, and I think that it will perform better.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, oh, why didn't you change the SAP on Abruzzi? Right now with the SAP, Abruzzi performs basically where he wanted to be, whereas without SAP, Abruzzi does not. So the goal of this buff is to bring it to where there's not the upgrade module or the SAP is a side grade rather than a strict upgrade.
Okay, excellent. I can feel that, and I agree with that. Okay, I think that, guys, we are done with the patch notes, with what we saw, and now we can. Yeah. We
did nerf Fiji.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's a half-second reload nerf to Fiji. Fiji is basically is almost up there with Talon in terms of its performance at tier 6, particularly with more skilled players. So we just wanted to bring that back a little bit. Fiji is an exceptionally strong warship that kind of flies underneath the radar because it's pretty old. And so people don't think of it that much, but it's it has basically the same DPM as Edinburgh. Doesn't have the same survivability as Edinburgh.
Yeah.
But it's at a lower tier, so it's it can be quite a monster.
Yeah, and it can be now it can be challenging to be played in tier 6 because with all those additions, I think it's gonna be more balanced, and it's not gonna be escaping to the OP universe. I think that it's what it was fair. So, guys, now we are done with the patch notes because I think that that's the main part that we covered with Blip fast. We don't want him to be tired because I think that we have a lot of questions. So before we can jump to your live stage and we can ask Blip questions with yourselves, let's see some questions from the chat and also some things I want to ask Blip personally because he was having good vacations, so it's time to get over Blip and ask many things. So before we start Blip, I wanna tell you something about that Wargaming published a few weeks ago, a roadmap of sorts. So let's go and make some comments on some things that people have the opportunity to ask even more, but I'm gonna tell you something. So Blip, you released, you Wargaming, okay, don't take it personally. Yeah. You released a roadmap of sorts explaining some things that they are in progress, work in progress, and they're gonna be revealed in any of the future updates. So let me tell you something. Let's go one of them and explain some details about that. Okay, port switching. So now in the future we're gonna have the ability to switch to ports, different ports each other. So that's something that community wanted a long time ago, and how that decision came. We are already good to have separate ports. With the new console system or the early or the late systems that people have. It's gonna be Blip to the new console only, or it's gonna be global to the all the consoles, because we are separated with PlayStation 4, Xbox One, for example, and other people have the new version of the consoles, new generation. Yeah, let's tell you that.
Sorry.
Yeah, please go.
My understanding is that it will be for all consoles.
Okay, so something globally.
Yeah. So it's been something that's been requested forever and ever. And so and we're basically getting around to it now.
Okay.
In not so many words.
Excellent. So we're gonna have port switching. Each player, they have the option to have their own port, what they want to choose from. How many ports we have? 8, 6, I can't remember, but you can have any port available if you like to switch. Excellent. Extended service record. So I see animals here that you can give us to the players some extended service records. So it's been also requested many times from the community, and I see that many people will have access to the top 5 plate ships, the combat profile. I mean, if they're oriented to cruiser, battleships, or whatever, it is a spider web chat there. I can see. We give a win rate, classic win rate, how many battles and all that stuff. Average XP, that's something very good. Average damage, I can see kill death, the kill death ratio, how many ships were destroyed, and I can see some minor details about it's been separated with classes, and the win rate it's separated with classes. I mean, it can give you how many battles you have in your destroyer, for example, and what was that win rate in what ship. So I can see that it is an excellent addition to that record. So how long that's gonna take to have the updated service record blip? Do we have a roadmap of how long that will take?
So keep in mind this roadmap was written before certain events that happened on Monday last week.
Okay.
So at that time, beforehand, we were like very certain that that these were going to be delivered before the end of the year, and we only have this coming update on October 3rd, another update on November 7th, and then a third update before the end of the year.
Okay.
So it'll be the plan was to have them in one of those 3 updates.
Okay.
So it may come to it that one or two of these things gets delayed due to events outside of our control.
All right. Okay, but it is something that it is planned to be released soon, but the soon is gonna be kind of delayed. One or two updates. Yeah, but they are coming. I mean, they are on the backlog, so they are coming. Very good. Another I want to tell is finally training rooms. So I think that a few weeks ago the feedback was flooded with that request: clans and training room. And as I said many times in my social links and comments, posts and all that stuff, I really don't care much about the clans, but I really do care about the training. I mean, I don't care about clans because if I had the training rooms, I can, for example, with a bunch of friends, I can arrange some battles, and we can separate the clans to each other and all that stuff. I mean, if we have the training rooms, we can create a first form of clans. So I think that training rooms have the best priority at the moment to be in the games. Can you tell us about that? How it's gonna be? It's gonna be something like World of Tanks had, or it's gonna be something special. Or it's gonna be something like the PC has, for example, that you can choose any map you want, and you can choose any ship you want, any customization in that ship, and for example, will you have a limitation based on server capabilities on the hardware, for example?
Yeah. So, my understanding of how it works, which don't take as a final word on it, but my understanding of how it works is that it'll take you can basically more or less queue up in the ship that you want to take in, and it'll use the commander and ship setup that you have for that ship in the training room. You can, I think you will be able to add bots and maybe change parameters of that bot. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I'm pretty sure that's the thing.
Okay.
And you can align, and basically people will get put into a queue, and you can allocate them to different teams, however you wish to. And that should basically be you can you'll basically go to it as like a game mode, and then you'll see the different training rooms that are available, and then you can join one that suits you.
Okay, so it's gonna be something like an early mode, with a few limitations, but I think that it can be worked over any update and it can be polished.
Yeah, and you should be able to choose maps as well.
Okay, we will see. Okay, the next thing is the special modernization. It is one line and many questions here. So can you tell us something? Because you said that we can't reveal too much, but let's say that it's going to be something to improve ships you are particularly fond of, and will allow you to improve your performance in the heat of the battle dynamic. I keep some words and you can tell me. Performance in the heat of the battle. For my experience, that means that it's gonna be something that is gonna be used for some seconds, and the change of the battle dynamic is gonna be something that's gonna be used for some seconds, and it's gonna be something that will increase something that's gonna be big. So can you tell us about the something we are speaking now?
I can tell you that your guess is as good as mine.
Okay.
So I do not have do not have much details on what exactly this all means right now.
Okay, but it's something because it says modernization. A lot of people have some concern about and say, "Oh, it's gonna be something that's gonna be changed the whole mechanism of the game in some patches and like World of Tanks had some things that premium consumables and all that stuff." So as you can say many things, we keep that in mind. So it is really that thing created a lot of feedback and a lot of questions around the community. But as you can say anything about that. We will leave it here. Okay. So I think that Blip we covered also the roadmap of sorts, and we are very happy that you say many things about that. But let's go to the community and see some questions that I marked for.
Do you mind if I add on that, Papa?
Oh, hello. Hello.
From my point of view, from what I'm listening to, it definitely sounds like a type of a premium ammo, but that's just me, standing on the sideline.
Yeah.
It will not be a premium ammo.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
You got your answer. Okay, let's go and see.
I answered somebody earlier today that was commenting about SAP and the Duca nerf, basically. We have no intentions of adding more types of ammo anytime soon.
Yeah.
So, the ballistics, I think the programming for that is going to be way too much already.
Yeah. It needs program and it needs also testing, so it's going to be huge, I think. So, but we will see.
Yeah, so, I think that's a bit too much of a game changer.
Okay. I see some questions from Rockstabber, but I think that the Blip already answered those questions. So I see a question about opinions are illegal. Community. Okay, why are these people that have the Okay, that's another off-topic question. Why does Midway feel like the hardest mode in terms of total aircraft? Can you say something about that, Blip?
So, Midway, from what I've got, I haven't played Midway much. I tend to play Hakiryu, just because I like it visually more. If you don't know, Midway is one of my least appealing ships visually speaking that I think in history personally. So, but I play. But from what I hear from Final Boss, is that Midway is one of those like really high reward for, I guess, high risk in terms of like. Yeah, it's a carrier, so risk is weird in that sense, but essentially, like, if you lose your planes, you're screwed. If you use your planes right, you can do some truly monstrous damage.
Excellent. So it's high risk, high reward ship and skill play. So it's up to the player how much want to risk in the midway. But if you risk too much, sometimes you're gonna be awarded with huge amount of XP and damages if you want to keep it in that pace. So another question from Fighter: does Perth have the koala as the Easter egg?
So I haven't looked myself because I didn't know that the koala was an Easter egg for Perth, but I know about the Julio Cesare salad, and if you don't, you need to find it. But my understanding is that we take ship models from PC basically almost 1-to-1. So if something is there on PC, it should be there on Legends.
Okay, so it should be, guys. So it should be.
Yeah, we do tend to like uprate some textures on some ships, particularly old ones and carriers, but otherwise they stay pretty much the same.
Okay, so Seven says spotter plane. I think was there been any talk into how the aiming view mirror PC? No.
Basically, there's a general consensus that most people don't really like how spotter plane works on PC in terms of how it changes your viewpoint. Because a lot of people struggle to aim with the altered viewpoint. So our judgment on that is that we don't really want to cause any further confusion. So we don't plan on changing that.
Okay.
It does give you some benefits, but a lot of people do not like aiming with it.
Okay. So another question is from Rogue: are the research points automatically graded like the current Bureau win missions, or it is a separate consumable to be hoarded? That's with the campaign mode. If you green the campaign mode, the research points are automatically graded to the Bureau project, or you can choose.
You can hoard them.
Okay, you can hoard them.
Yeah, think of them like global XP for Bureau missions.
Okay, so you can hoard them wherever you like, and you can put them. Okay, excellent. That was very good question. So let's see if there is another question. Let me go. With the new caveat that all ships are subject to balance, how do we protect our investment of gold, for example, for Plymouth? I think that Rockstar is speaking about the updated terms of the EULA from Wargaming a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So
it is a big talk, but I really like to be, because we have you here, so you can say some things about that.
Yeah, so my understanding of things is that there's a chain of events here. So Weimar happens, the whole Weimar thing happens from start to end. So with that, we basically come down to the conclusion that we need to be able to tweak premiums in worst case scenarios. We don't want to have that scenario happen. We do not intend for that to happen. But in case it does, nice to have a backup plan. And so we created the disclaimer that we decided to apply on all future premium ships and campaign ships. My understanding is that then, like the week later, or even during that week, legislation came out within the EU, I believe, that has some implications on some things, but I am not a lawyer and I do not understand it. So that forced a EULA change for wargaming entirely. So that's not just World of Warships Legends, it's also World of Warships PC and I think World of Tanks. So as of right now, I do not know where we stand in terms of the whole premium nerfing playing field, other than we still have a stance of we don't want to do it, we don't intend to do it, but if it's necessary, we'll try and find a way to do it.
Okay. So it is for the better health of the game and for a better experience for the people that they are enjoying the game. If an event happened, for my understanding, it's gonna be a warning for Wargaming via the community managers, post or anything in the social media that says that ship is gonna be, for example, nerf, and if people don't want that ship in the current stats, they have to apply a ticket to get a refund. And I'm guessing that the refund is not money, doubloons.
No. The disclaimer essentially removes the refund requirement. Is the intent of it. Because we did receive a bunch of Weimar refunds. Found that a bunch of them refunded their Weimar to get Graf Zeppelin. But essentially the purpose of the disclaimer is to remove the moral requirement to have the refund like in the Weimar scenario.
Okay.
It makes life a lot easier for us as a company, but that's the goal of it. But of course, the whole legislation thing and whatnot is there, which I don't understand and can't really comment on.
Yeah, because there is a lot of. Let's go.
Sorry, I've got a question in that regard. I know you're not a lawyer or anything. Does this disclaimer, does that account for anything prior to this EULA that's coming out now? So let's say, for example, let's say the JB. Will you be able to change the JB now?
No.
So anything afterwards?
Yeah, I think the only exception that we had in mind was Republic. Because Republic is an exceptionally strong ship, and we suspected that it might need a little bit of a touch-up, but that was the only exception we had in mind.
Okay.
No plans to touch John Bard or anything like that.
It's just that I'm asking so we can all establish when this thing kind of kicks in.
It basically kicks in with the beginning of last update.
Okay.
Plus Republic. But with everything else, I have no idea. But to go back to the original question, when it comes to Plymouth, I would say you probably don't have much to worry about. Plymouth is a very strong ship, but it's in the same league as ships like Mines, Ochikov, and Azuma, and they've been around forever now. So probably not much going to happen there.
Okay, so there are a lot of I'm gonna say that there are a lot of things to happen if Wargaming touch a ship. So especially they are trying to avoid that. That my understanding is correct. Yeah. But when it happens, it's gonna have some actions back for the user or no? That is my main question, Blip. I mean, if you're gonna touch any ship on the game, can the user have something to say on that, or it's something inventable?
So, based off of the disclaimer, I don't know I haven't looked into the EULA changes or whatever that impacts. That happened while I was on vacation. So I don't know that. But based off of what the disclaimer was, there would be no recourse. Okay. So we would just make it, if we use Plymouth as an example, we would make a change to Plymouth and you would have to deal with it. But again, I will reiterate, we do not intend to make these changes. It's just a backup plan in case we get a situation like Weimar, where you get a ship that is performing clearly beyond the legends of its tier, or the other ships at its tier, and would have to make a change just for the betterment of gameplay health, which was the case with Weimar.
You took away the fun that I had burning people to the ground. You took it away from me.
It's okay.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, again, you did a refund, so yeah. And I didn't buy the graph.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wasn't you?
For context, like Weimar was rocking around with like a 63% win rate, something insanely absurd, and damage in excess of the top tier 7 cruisers. So like Weimar was just blowing things out of the water.
Yeah.
There are not really, except maybe Kamikaze, there are not really any other ships in the game that even come close to how broken Weimar was.
Yeah.
And so that's the scenario we want to avoid, and want to have a backup plan for if it happens again.
So guys, as you hear it, Weimar was a beast mode released, and now
it's still a good ship. If you look at it, it still performs well in some battles. I've seen it.
Yeah, it's like it's competing with ships like it's basically on the same tier as like Wichita right now, which isn't the top of tier 7, but it's like right next to the top of tier 7. So like Weimar is actually doing pretty fine right now.
Okay, so let's go to another question from Udaloi. It says, how are Italian TT cruisers performing, and how much good are their stats comparing to other TT cruisers?
Some are okay. Some are reasonably okay. Like Trento is pretty strong at tier 5. Sorry. Like Trento's pretty strong. Some of them are just kind of mid. Most of the line is pretty mid.
Okay, so we have some issues.
Yeah. So like, could I see SAP coming to them? I could see it happening. Would they need tweaks? Yes. Is it a plan right now? No, because we still have some SAP issues that we are working on. We've made some progress on some of them. We had a really good report from, I think it was one of the CCs gave us a report a while ago, or somebody from one of the clan discords that I was in contact with gave me a report of a SAP Citadel against a battleship, which definitely should not have happened. I think it was like a Colorado or something.
It was on the Colorado.
I saw that.
Yeah, and basically I took that, I brought it to the developers, and they were like, yeah, that shouldn't happen. And they found a bug basically where SAP is able to
penetrate layers and layers.
No. It's essentially it doesn't arm on water. So you can get like underwater citadels with SAP that you should not be able to. And so and that's actually a problem the PC had a long time ago that we just didn't know of. And so that's one of the fixes that we need to make to SAP, and a few other things that we need to work on.
Okay, so you guys, you really now find the way how to Citadel Colorado in your SAP cells. Aim underwater.
For now. Yeah. So
but it's gone. It's gone. The fun is gone. So I think that fixed. So nothing like underwater citadels. So if you have any other questions in the chat, I think that we're gonna close the main podcast with Blip. Blip, you have any issues, any things to comment for the people to inform them? I think that we covered a lot of things, and now we're gonna let the community jump to the microphones and ask any questions that they want.
Just before we do, Papa.
Okay.
Prince, I have a question.
Okay.
And it's to do with the end user license agreement. Again,
okay.
As Rogue and yourself said, you're not really up there with all of the lawyers, but 8.6 is regarding gifting. Is there a specific issue in relation to gifting on console? Because Wargaming in their end user license agreement allow it. It is part of World of Tanks. It is part of the PC ships. Is there an opportunity that it could come to console, or is there some barrier that would stop us experiencing that, because I know there's a lot of people out there that do not have, masses of funds, that do not have the ability to buy every campaign or anything like that. It'd be a nice opportunity to gift that in some cases. But what are the comeuppances there? What's the issues?
So I can't think of any. It's like the only development issue I could see is that we might have data that says that it doesn't really get used enough to warrant the amount of development time that would be required to get it to work. And so that's the only thing I can really think of. As far as I know, legally it's fine, because it's just giving somebody something within a game, which is already it's not really a tax concern or anything like that. So my understanding is that it should just be fine, but it's just we don't have the time or desire to implement it. And as for why that is, I don't know. It's a good question. I hadn't thought of it.
I mean, it would kind of make sense, because as I say, there's a lot of people out there that wouldn't have the opportunity. And I know there are some people specifically in this community that Papa's created, Papa and the guys have created, that are not exactly well off. There was one case where there was some guy from, and I'm pretty sure that it was either you or Robin that brought it up. Some guy in Zimbabwe who was playing. I can only imagine that he, isn't going to be throwing 30 to 40 pounds a month at the game, or whatever the currency is there. So it'd be a nice feature to offer, I would suggest. And I'd definitely use it. There'd be a lot of people out there that I want to gift things to. Not in a weird way. Rogue. Not gifting you anything.
I think it would become more of a opportunity for wargaming to implement it when, let's say, about 30% of the people are asking for this. I think the problem is that there's only 2% that's asking for it. The moment you get those numbers up, it might be a possibility, but it's not a requested thing. It's not something that comes up very often. This is a once-off thing that people are asking about.
Well, what was the date like for the Secret Santa then? Because that effectively is this, right?
Right.
No.
Well, it is, except you don't get to choose where it goes.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
I think
I was top 4 in gifting, and during that event, I was in top 4, and I spent a hell of a lot, but not as much as other people could have.
Yeah.
And come on.
But I think that future of gifting things, for example, SIPs, it was available in World of Tanks, that you can gift any SIP from the store you want to give to some friend, and you can make it a gift. So you went up to the World of Tanks console store, you pick up your gift, and you said, send this to Papanikolis, for example, as a gift. So you pressed it, you bought it, and that SIP is going to be gifted to your friend. It was that easy. I don't know how things could be like this easy, like World of Tanks in World of Warship's Legends. But it was on console, so it has something. It has a base.
I would say from my mind, is it possible? Yes. Is it worth the effort? I don't know. So because we have the data from all the different games available to us, we can go over to World Tanks console and ask, hey, how many people use your gift system? And we can get that data. And so if it's something that we've looked into, of course we would have looked at that data, and it's possible that either we have made the decision not to implement it because there's not enough motivation to do so, or or maybe we just haven't looked into it, and so I don't know. I can definitely bring it up.
Again, it's coming back to what I said. It's not something that people are asking for.
Yeah.
If I can give some advice, do this as a once-off. So, guys, in 2 updates from now, you have the ability to gift a ship, if you're willing to a friend, and see what's the turnaround of the people.
How many
From
people
that,
can
I believe it'd be enough to get an idea of how console people, or console players, are willing to send stuff to other people.
Yeah. Well, we already have that data. Like we can just get it from World of Tanks console, because they have that system set up. It's a pretty solid system, and they can already do that, and they've had that for years. I just haven't seen that data. I don't know what our thoughts are on that data. So it's essentially that I just need to figure out, is it something worth doing or is it not?
From a
business standpoint.
If I was you, from my personal point of view, don't look at the World of Tanks stats. The World of Tanks community is not really the same as the World of Warships.
Like it was before, because World of Tanks was a
we-
big community before Legends. For 5 years of console playing, it was a very huge community.
Oh, I know. I was a part of it.
I realize the people involved in each group are different, but like a lot of the things are very very similar. So like both games tend to have a older age group than other games, and both games tend to have similar demographic regions, where like if we take a big game like Apex, for example, or whatever, that game tends to be played more in the US in the coastal regions and on the coasts, and in cities. Our games tend to actually have a higher proportion of players who are not in cities and on the coasts. So these demographics are very similar across all of our games from what we were able to find. So I wouldn't, like, specific interests might be different, but a lot of the people are, or at least the kinds of people, are very similar. So I'm not sure, but we have the data from Tanks. We can figure out kind of generalizations of what we can expect, and so investing in a test event, as I'm sure you're aware, in kind of wargaming games, if something comes out of it as a test event, it's very, very, very likely to come as a real thing, because spending that development time at some point is a sunk cost, and so it's essentially, is it worth continuing or not? And so it'd be, in my opinion, something that we would want to be rock solid on and just go from the get-go.
Okay, so it still needs a brainstorming session in the headquarters of the Wargaming, and we're gonna see how it goes, as I can understand. It just needs some brainstorming, and they can set up things. If it's gonna be implemented, or that's my thoughts on this, because they have the data, they know how it affects the game, how the demographics are the same, also main things are the same. So they just need a brainstorming session, make a decision. Yes. Yeah.
Papa, it just comes basically down to, is it going to be going to benefit the company in the end financially?
Yeah,
if it does that, it'll definitely come.
They're gonna see the data and say how many people use it, how much money was worth it. They're gonna say if it's worth the time to be implemented. That's easy.
But I understand the business plan that they've got. They have got to implement this gifting system. That's step 1. Then step 3 is profit.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about step 2, because that's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Ribz, you know what we should do?
We
should gift numbers CVs.
Oh my god.
No.
Okay, guys, let me close the podcast and let's go to community. Let's go to community time, because we are going off topic now. Okay, let's see. And guys, thank you being in the podcast. Now it comes the community time, that you have only to raise your hand to answer a question in person with Blip, and we not going to record this session. So let me close the bot, and you're ready to ask questions and chat with Blip and us in about a minute. And